Hi guys, this is VK from Budget Flow, and today let's create a stock investment portfolio tracker in Google Sheets. So it tracks the live prices, it will tell us the asset allocation, total return on investment, will create a dashboard which will reflect once again the asset allocation as well as the capital invested versus the actual value of that particular equity. And we will finish also with the top performance by the return on investment with a specific query function. So let's go. So here we are in the main template that we are going to be building today. And obviously I have put my gorgeous face down at the right corner, so you don't need to pay attention to this at all. All you need to do is right now is to focus on how to build a investment portfolio tracker like this. Therefore, let's jump into it. As I said, three parts. First, let's build portfolio. Then let's build the dashboard. And third part, let's create a top performers by return on investment. And this will be done using the query function. So where do we start? We start very simple, and we start with the name. For this, we are going to be using the Google Finance formula, which is a native formula within Google Sheets. Again, quite powerful, and I love Google Sheets for this reason. It's quite powerful. Yes, Excel offers bigger opportunities from data analytics and more complex and quantity of the data, but in this instance, Google Sheets does the job perfectly. But instead of purely using the Google Finance, I will start by using if, and again, we are having an assumption that your stock portfolio contains these stickers here. So from Apple to Adobe. Now, let's jump. I'll type by typing an if function with a logical expression. If B21 equals empty, I want to return empty. Otherwise, I want to return Google Finance. And all I need to do right now is to refer to my B21 cell, comma, and then type in a quotations mark name. Close the brackets, press enter, and there you go. In this particular case, Google Sheets offers a suggested autofill. If you don't want, just you can ignore this, because I think you'll be much better off. Yes, it will function this time, but I think you will be much better off by creating your own formulas, or essentially, otherwise you can drag this, so it would work like this. If you can drag below, you can see that it's going to be empty, and therefore that's because there is no ticker here. But if you want to go Apple again, you see it will work. If we go for meta, it will change automatically. This would be different if I would just simply keep the Google Finance. If I would just simply keep the Google Finance B33 name, I need to delete this bracket here. Let me delete the meta right now. So you see this is NA. I don't like these. Looking at this, NAs, if you want to have it as clean as possible. So use an if statement with a logical option to make sure that if there is nothing in the cell in the column B, that there is an empty output here. Otherwise, just yeah. As simple as that, essentially. Now for the total costs, this is where you have in your brokerage account, you'll have this available. So all you need to do is now multiply. But I will do the following if statement: if B21 equals empty, I want to return empty. Otherwise, I want my quantity multiplied by my average cost. And again, this will give me exactly my total cost on the basis of the quantity and the average price that I've purchased so far, multiple. And you can purchase your equities or stocks again many times. You just really want to calculate that average to be taken from the stock or the brokerage account. Again, we don't need this. The live price, right? So I'll move on and do the rest at the end. So actually, no, let's do the following. It doesn't matter, but I can double click on the blue dot and the formula will be applied to all the rows below. For the live price, once again, if b21 equals empty, I want to return empty. Otherwise, I want Google Finance formula and the ticker, which is a part of that. And then in quotations, I type price. Double click. Done. Let's see. Okay, perfect. So all I've done is then I've pressed with my left button of my mouse twice on this blue dot. Automatically it kind of filled in. So right now the portfolio value will be a live price. Let's keep the same composure and consistency. If b21 equals empty, I want to return empty. Otherwise, I want my live price to be multiplied by my quantity. Close the brackets, press enter, go up, double dot, press on this blue dot, double click on this, and there you go, automatically fills in. Perfect. Now total gain versus total loss, as simple as we are going to start once again with if b21, actually I know this by heart, I know this just to type if b21, but nevertheless, let's do portfolio value minus total cost. All good. Double click on the blue dot. Perfect. So obviously the greens are the ones that where we are in a profit position. The red ones we are not, which means that our average price is actually higher than the actual price, the live price of that stock. So we are a bit down on the AMD, and we are also on the Adobe quite actually significantly. But we will actually have a look at this right now. So all we need to do to understand the percentage of the gain of loss is that I'm going to do first, let's start with something simple, is that all you need to do essentially you need to divide the total gain or loss value in the column I divided by the, that's the easiest way. There are a number of ways you can calculate this, but nevertheless, it will do the total cost, total amount that capital has been invested, and there you go. So 13%, this is how much we've actually got from Apple stock. Alternatively, the second way is that the way you can do this is that you can open the brackets, you can have portfolio value minus total cost, close the brackets, divided by the total cost, and it will give you the same value, so 13.23%. So it's the same formula, and it's the same way you can actually calculate the percentage, and as simple as that. So all I need to do right now, for example, if I'll double click on the blue dot, perfect. But let's say if I'll drag this down to where there is no data, there is this part of div, and this is where it essentially tells it that division cannot be done by 0 for the second parameter. So all we need to do, if we want to, again, the simplest way, we can do it again, once again, if b21 equals empty, then I want to return empty. Otherwise, I want to have this, and I want this performance, the calculation to be done on return on investment. So all I need to do, I'll drag it down, perfect, but look at this. If I'll drag this down to this one, it becomes empty. So remember that that's one option. You can have if error function as well, by the way, but for now, I do prefer to have if, the logical if when the ticker is empty. So that'll be my suggestion for you to use. So for the total allocation, we can do this, but first let's actually calculate the total value of our portfolio. And to do this, we are going to be using the sum function. And for this, we are going to be using actually the column H, starting from H21 to H. Press enter, and there you go. That's our current value. So what do we actually need to do for the portfolio allocation? And therefore, all we need to do right now is we are going to be starting with if b21 equals empty. I want to return empty. Otherwise, I want my portfolio value divided by the total portfolio value, which means that we are dividing our portfolio value of Apple within the total portfolio. But the key part, don't forget, we need to have an absolute reference to lock the column and a cell M2. So close the brackets, press enter, and there you go. All I need to do right now is once again just double click, and there you go. If you want to check if you've done this correctly, you can actually double click on the last line that when you have data, and as you can see, we do have the highlight. So this is, we know that this is in respect to Adobe. You can see this kind of a dotted lines here. We know that we are referencing the portfolio value, and we know that we are actually working with cell M2 here. So as simple as that. And finally, for the first part of this tutorial, let's focus on the total return on investment. And you can do this in a couple of stages. So first one, or the kind of the easiest part, is that we need to open the brackets, and we can do the cell M2, which is current value, minus the sum of total quantity, which has been total cost, which has been so far invested, which is again F21, which essentially we're highlighting the column F, and if you add more stocks, it's going to be absolutely fine. Don't forget to have the second bracket, and then divided by the same amount which we have here. So it's sum F21 and F. So I'm just copy this and paste it here, and let's press enter and see what we have. So we actually have 29.54%, which is really good. So as simple as that, we have created the actual portfolio in respect to our data. So we know what's our average cost, live prices, which will be updated automatically. Everything else will be dynamically dependent on the live price. So portfolio value, gains, losses, percentages, and allocation as well, total return, your return on investment. So everything will be there for you. So that's the part number one. So let's jump into the part number two, where we build just two extra graphs, and they're going to be very simple. So hopefully you're going to enjoy them. Okay, so we are in part two now. Let's do the following. Let's do the following two charts. I want to know my allocation. I want to see a good representation of my allocation. So all I need to do is I'm going to the top panel here, insert chart. And one thing I really like is that I would like it to be reflected in the donut chart here. Donut chart, perfect. So I'm gonna select this area here where I'm gonna be dragging this. I think it's actually nice. Okay, it fits quite well. So what we need to do right now? So two things. So number one, we need to select the data ranges. And the data range is very simple as selecting the cell B21, and again, going to be selecting the whole data, all the rows below the B21, and just to make sure to highlight the full column B, whole column B, and then for the another range, which we want to add the allocation, which is going to be key K21 to K. So that's it. This is how we are going to be doing this. Let's press OK, and there you go. That's our portfolio allocation. Automatically, everything has been added correctly. So our labels, our values, simple. Because remember, the labels, obviously, these are corresponding to our tickers, and the values are corresponding to the column K, which correspond to the values. But I think it does make sense. So all we need to do right now, obviously, you're able to customize the way you want this. But if I would, my preference, given the current theme, is that I will remove the background color here to none. I will then remove the border charter, and this is, again, it's up to you the way you like that to customize it. And then I will do, obviously, the color. I need to see those. Perfect. So I'm actually quite happy with this, and generally speaking, this looks quite nice. So now let's do, and by the way, what you can do is that because we've removed the background, if you would right now to select the area behind the graph, so you can merge this and you can press enter. And by the way, I can reference cell M2 here. I can make sure I align centrally. I can increase the size to 20, Control B, And there you go. This is my, and maybe I can change my color to green, or let's keep it, any changes to this? No, let's keep it white. So it still have a good contrast. So all I've done right now, so it's a dynamic one, a dynamic portfolio. So you can have a portfolio value here at the top and also the portfolio value here. So as simple as that. Now, finally, for another piece of a chart, I want to compare total cost versus the portfolio value of each one of them. So what I will do is that I will go for the column chart, and here column charts, remember, column chart. Let's go back to the data range. And for now, let's make the B21 to B for our tickers. The total cost, let's make it be F21 to F. And once again, we can have the portfolio value, it's column H. So we are referring to H21 to H, press OK. And there you go. I think what we could have done, and this is where, let's give it a go. What if I would actually, to increase the number of rows, if I would go a row higher, so I think it's much better like this. So we automatically taking into consideration the information from the row 20, which makes it becomes our labels right here. So all we need to do right now, press in in the middle here, just drag it a bit further. I love the Google Sheets because for the graphical side, they're doing very nice graphs. By the way, in comparison to the Excel, I feel like they're doing quite well. But nevertheless, doesn't matter what I think. It's what it really, because we want to make sure that this is a good looking portfolio. I'm changing right now the text colors. You can see in the customize, you have some different gray options. The portfolio value, I will change the color. Actually, let me remove myself from there because I'm unnecessarily there. Okay, perfect. Total cost, I will fill color to the spread. Perfect. I like it. I really do. And by the way, what we forgot is to actually customize chart style, chart border color, remove. Perfect. Look at this. I think it looks great. I think it looks very nice, and it really represents what we have in the data. So now let's move on to the final part. And this is going to be a good one because there is just one formula to make, but still a very nice one. Okay, so here we are, final part. I know you're tired maybe by this time around, but nevertheless, let's go with the query function. Very powerful. And for the query, we need to type equals query. We are going to be selecting the full table, which means that all the data which has been pre-filled, and when I go with between 2021 and K, the columns, because they don't indicate any row number, in respect to the column K, which means all the rows, essentially all this spreadsheet, all this data frame will be covered by the query function. And this is powerful. So you can add as many stocks as you want there. So I want to type select, and I want to reflect my stock ticker, which is in column B. So remember, the query function is respect to the column, like column names, or rather column, not names, but actually the actual column names, which is B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. But we want to select B, comma, and then our gains and losses are in column J, and this is where, let's call it a syntax of the query is that where J is not null, order by J, descending. Close quotations, close the brackets, and let's see if it does. And it works magically. Once again, I'm going to remove myself. Just going to drag myself here. You don't need to see me. But there you go. Everything within our portfolio is now done. Look at this. This is great. So that's what we really wanted. And that's why everything right now, our top performers are at the top. Lowest is obviously, as you can see, Adobe, Coin, and AMD are at the bottom. And that's how you do this. If you want just to always see your top 10 or top 5, how many do we have here? We have 12 here. You can see, I can have a count here. If you want to have top 10 always, so for the query function, all you need to do is you need to type limit 10 within the formula, query formula, and it will remove the Coinbase in this case, and AMD, it will only have Adobe. But I really want to keep this as useful as possible, hopefully to you. So I will go back and I will delete this limit 10. So there you go. And this is dynamic. So it will be adjusted according to the price and according to the actual value within your portfolio, within your total gains, etc. So the final part is that I will let's create a small chart and to see actually the true kind of the reflection of this top performers. So what we are going to do, we are going to go back to our charts. I don't think it's going to fit well. I mean, you can see it automatically recognized that I want to create top performance. That's because my cursor was here in Microsoft, but I don't think I want. I mean, we can fit this. It just will be not necessarily looking good within this kind of a layout. So maybe instead we are just going to be using the vertical bar chart, and that's it. I will remove here top performance. I think it's easily recognizable that this is where we want them to be. Once again, I'm gonna shrink this a bit, increase the top here, the bottom. Let's finally, as the very last one, change the border color, background color. Let's make sure that we can see with the text color, changing to the white. And again, let's change the color of the bars to green. And there you go. That's kind of a very dynamic one. The only thing, if I'll double click here, let's do the setup, the data. So it picks up really between M20 and M32. Remember that if you want it to pick up everything, all you need to do is M20, and then when it comes to the column N remains empty. So I'm going to press OK. So whatever we coin, it's going to be just adding up those coins if you want, or not the coins, but the stocks and equities that you need to be careful between the equities and cryptos. We will do the same for the crypto next. But nevertheless, this is it. I think it looks nice. It's not over complex, and it's not. I think it shows what the most important part. So this is kind of the essential part. Now, what else? Finally, there is one piece that I've decided to include this. I wanted to show you how to build this as well. But for now, for those who can, and if you're still willing to get this template, again, this is free, absolutely free. So get this, and you'll get also the kind of the watch list. It has been already built for you, but if you want, you can use, for example, if I want to go for the Coinbase again, all I need to do is type the ticker coin here, and if I'm correct, it hasn't generated, but because of that, because it's empty. What I want to do though is that I will keep it for you guys, and all you need to do is come out to drag this, right? So all you need to do, if you want to add an extra coin, the one that you really want. So for example, once again, if there was no Apple, if I want to drag an Apple here, there is nothing happening here, but all you can do is right now select the row up here, and you can actually simply double click on the blue dot, and it will automatically, or just kind of pull it down, drag it down, right? So just do that, but I will recreate this in full and I think you will like and I hope you will get the full logic behind the year-to-date returns and how to do this charts because you can see there is a bit of a bit of a more, just slightly more complex formulas here and to the year-to-date as well. But this is it. Get this template for free. What I would really though appreciate is subscribe. If you really enjoyed the content, this is just the starting point, and this is where, let me make myself a bit bigger in the center, attention, right? So this is just a starting point. I want to recreate the same for the cryptos. I want to focus on a couple of Excel ones, budget planners, templates, debt management, savings, different approaches to the finance. And then we're also going to be jumping into the business analytics. This is really, to a certain extent, we're jumping to the data analytics. So this is just a starting point for everyone to understand. And the focus had always been, instead of just purely, and there may be times where I will be giving, be focused on specific formulas, but the key part essentially will be end result, the outcome, and the final product. That's what I want to focus on. So yeah, and by mean the end product, our final product is a tracker like this, a watch list like this, budget planner. So the actual products. So I'll try to explain as much as possible. There will be a course, but I think I'm not sure if you want this to hear or not, but nevertheless, get the template. I'll shut up, and I hope really to see you in the next one. Thanks so much, everyone.